So much for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate not being a system seller. Yo, what's up everyone? OJ over here from PlayerEssence. Welcome back to another PE News. Today we've got some great information for you guys, like always, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And we're starting off with the news recently, even though I've been covering it all year, that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best-selling title on Amazon.com for 2018, but the only issue, or at least what makes this significant, is the fact that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate came out at the end of 2018, and not at the end as in like October or November, but as in December. And the fact that the game still topped the Amazon sales charts, one of the largest retailers for video games in the world, is absolutely incredible. This is an unprecedented type of sales period for a Nintendo game with this type of atmosphere releasing in how it did. Like the fact that it came out at the very end of the year and it was still able to top the charts is just absolutely incredible, and goes to show you, I think, the reason why Nintendo still has not discussed the worldwide sales numbers for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game is just selling so fast and at a rapid pace. There's no point in announcing the worldwide sales figures when you can just have some type of huge number because of the rapid sales of the game. Wait for the gift cards. Now that we're after the holidays, kids get those gift cards that they got from Christmas. They can spend it on different things. But I do want to go over the top 10 best-selling games on Amazon.com. Now, on PlayerEssence, you guys know I've been covering the Amazon sales charts and letting you guys know, so this isn't necessarily a surprise to me, but it is an incredible sales feat that I haven't seen many games do, to be able to be launched in December but still be a top-selling title that was throughout the year, especially from a place like Amazon. That's just nuts. So let's go ahead and get into the top 10 best-selling Amazon games. We'll start off at number 10, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is amazing in its own right, considering that game came out last year. So the continued sales of that game, and you guys are going to see a trend here. God of War was number 9. Call of Duty was number 8 on the PlayStation 4. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu was number 7. Super Mario Odyssey was 6, another game from 2017. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was number 5, another game from 2017. Marvel's Spider-Man had a fantastic run that came out back in like, what, September or something like that? So pretty good that it was able to get number 4 on the list. Super Mario Party, that game is selling better than I think people thought it would sell. That was number 3. Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PlayStation 4, also very good. We know about the sales of this game, guys. Red Dead Redemption has been doing gangbusters on the PlayStation 4 and also on the Xbox One. And then number 1 was, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So this is a incredible sales feat that is very unique, that I haven't really seen before. It might have happened maybe before with like a different game that Nintendo's done, but Nintendo usually, for the most part, they don't launch a super heavy hitter in a December, right? Like usually what we saw in the past, like with Super Mario Galaxy or with different games like that, Mario Kart, they always launch them at the beginning of the year, or they launch them in like November or October or something like that. Even Smash Brothers last time came out in really weird periods when it came to the 3DS and also the Wii U. You look at all Nintendo's big hitting games that they've done before in the past on the GameCube, Super Nintendo, and all of that, they usually launch in November or October, or they launch earlier in the year. This one was unique because Nintendo's starting to launch bigger games in December, but this is really unique because a Smash Brothers game coming in December is almost unheard of for the most part. I think the last time that we saw something like that was maybe the GameCube with Super Smash Brothers Melee. It was around maybe the late end of the year there. Obviously Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, but remember the 3DS version launched before that. Super Smash Brothers Brawl, that one launched in like the earlier of the year of like 2008. So Nintendo doesn't always do this when it comes to their big games, especially a game like Smash Brothers, which had a lot riding on it when it comes to Switch sales and all of that. Now, if you go over to the top 10 best-selling video game products on Amazon, the Nintendo Switch was the best-selling video game device, and on top of that, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was actually the best-selling product in the video game department. So there's actually two separate lists here. You have the best-selling video games, which we went over, and then you also have the best-selling video game products, which includes the PSN cards, systems itself, and Switch and Smash Brothers topped it when it comes to video games outside of PSN cards and things like that. So Nintendo had a very dominant year on Amazon, but I think all of the systems, we're getting some of the leaks of the NPD reports and kind of what's going on there, all the systems had a very good year, but Switch just had a very, very good last half of the year, especially with Super Mario Party. That was doing well. The continued sales of their evergreen titles like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and then of course Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to top off the year. And it was just great. It was just great for Nintendo, and a really unprecedented type of sales. Very unique. I have not seen that before, and it's going to be very interesting to see how well Super Smash Bros. Does, what Nintendo announces at the end of January, how the game did, in addition to where the Switch is at. So we'll see how Nintendo's progressing on their goals and what they've done so far. So what do you guys think about the sales for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and kind of what it did? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, now moving on to the next topic here. It seems like EA is going to be ramping up support for the Nintendo Switch in 2019 because according to a LinkedIn post from a developer, the Nintendo Switch will be getting Frostbite support, and that is EA's big engine that they use to power all of their games, or at least most of their games that you see out there are on Frostbite. But the biggest problem for the Nintendo Switch when it came to it, it seems like EA maybe didn't put full support or money or funding or whatever the case is to fully get Frostbite and develop games on there. But according to a recent LinkedIn post, shoutouts to DogTrey81 for finding this, and he also made a video on it. It looks like EA will be ramping up some support because this is the first time that anybody's been able to see that there is a EA developer, a software engineer, and also putting Nintendo Switch in there with Frostbite. So according to the profile on LinkedIn, this person is a software engineer. Electronic Arts has been working there since July or so 6 months plus. And here's what he's responsible for. So he's responsible for creating / maintaining SDKs for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, which allows game teams to integrate their games within an EA environment, engineered already existing SDKs for Nintendo Switch, allowing game teams to enable publishing games on Switch. And that's the big thing here. He also goes into talking about Battlefield 5 and Anthem. I'm not sure if that's going to mean that those games are going to be coming over to the Switch, but here's what I do think this does mean. I think that we're going to see the actual versions of like FIFA, right? We can finally see the fully featured versions or the Frostbite versions of FIFA on the Nintendo Switch. For the past 2 years, FIFA on the Switch has been built with a custom engine and not the Frostbite engine, so therefore it gets less features and not as much as the other systems. It's had its own unique things in terms of what it can do, but it's still leaving out some features that are exclusive on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and not on the Nintendo Switch. So I think that this is going to help out with that. Also, Madden is a Frostbite ran game, and I think that Madden could finally come over to the Nintendo Switch within the next year or so. It's one of those games like you probably should just have it on the Switch anyway. You have a lot of football fans that would love to be able to play some football while watching football, so it just makes sense because that's what FIFA people did when they had FIFA on the Switch, being able to take that anywhere that you want. So I think maybe Madden could be on there. Now, some other games that we could see is kind of more of the smaller end stuff, maybe like a Need for Speed, like a Burnout, stuff like that. But EA did mention that they weren't going all in with the Switch. They wanted to kind of wait and see what it could do. After the sales reports that we've been getting, or after the rumors and kind of just like the NPD, which is going to be coming out soon here, I think it's pretty apparent that the Switch is going to be selling and it's going to stay for a while. This concept isn't going anywhere. So I think EA might be thinking, all right, we can finally put some money and some resources behind the Nintendo Switch, because they did that with the Wii U. They had the falling out with Nintendo and it didn't work out for them, but they didn't really put a lot of effort into their games. So I will say this about EA, because you guys know I'm not the biggest EA fan out there. I know a lot of you guys aren't the biggest EA fans out there, but I will say this: it is better to have their games on the system than not have their games on the system. Obviously, if you don't like their games, then you don't have to buy their games at all. But there are people who do like their games and want to be able to play Madden anywhere, or want to be able to play Burnout, or want to be able to play FIFA with the newest features, or whatever the case is, and EA can provide those games. Maybe they bring over some of the older Star Wars games, or what they've done before there. Maybe they bring over Titanfall. Remember when they were laughing at that? Maybe that finally happens. I don't know, but Mass Effect, maybe they bring over those, although those are Unreal Engine 3 with the older Mass Effect games. Andromeda is the one that's on Frostbite, so who knows what they're going to do. I'm thinking that it's going to be stuff like Burnout, it's going to be stuff like Need for Speed, FIFA, Madden. Those are the type of games. I don't know about like Battlefield and all of that. However, I think it's a possibility. It's still a possibility. We need to wait and see what EA's plans are, what Nintendo's plans are when it comes to it, because it seems like they do have a better relationship than they've had in the past however many years, right? With Nintendo helping out with FIFA and with the good sales of FIFA in these past 2 years. Even though it hasn't sold as much as the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game, it's still sold well enough for them to say, okay, we're going to continue this here with the business relationship. So I think that it's finally kind of all coming around here when it comes to it. And on top of that, there was a developer who actually went into a reset thread because somebody questioned whether this was even going to happen and why would it not be where the team actually is based on this software developer. And he actually went in there and told them, hey, you know what, we have teams all over the world. It makes sense. You only have an 8-hour workday. It's not the same everywhere. So nah, this is definitely going to happen here. So I think it kind of puts a little bit more validity to the claim there, because the developer did go in there, a verified one, and said, yeah, look, we have teams all over the place. We're going to do this everywhere, not just in one area in Sweden or wherever the case is, wherever DICE is going to do certain things with the Frostbite engine. It's all over the place. They're an international company, so it makes sense that way. So what do you guys think about EA potentially bringing over more games to Nintendo Switch and the Frostbite engine? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the last topic here, we're going to discuss more talk about a January Nintendo Direct, but we're not only going to discuss more talk about it, we're going to try to predict a date for it and when it's going to be announced. A lot of people have been talking about a January Nintendo Direct. I had a video on it a couple weeks ago, or about a week or so ago, that was deleted, but then I re-uploaded it. So some of you guys saw that video, some of you guys didn't. I wanted to talk about it again because I actually talked about this beforehand, and now there's been more talk. People have been making some articles. I think I saw like Gaming Intel. There's been other people talking about a big January Direct, some rumors kind of floating around there. So I said, you know what, let's talk about it. Let's discuss when there could possibly be a Nintendo Direct. I am currently looking at a calendar that you guys are seeing as well. Today is January 3rd, 2019. Shout outs and Happy New Year to everybody out there. So we have January 3rd. Nintendo usually does directs on Thursday. Obviously, today ain't gonna be a direct for the most part. I don't think so. So we have the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, and the 31st. Those are all possible Thursdays, which Nintendo usually likes to do for Nintendo Directs. Or sometimes they've even had them on Fridays, I think. Either way, Thursday seems to be a type of day Nintendo can announce it on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, and then we see it on Thursday. This one could be a bigger Nintendo Direct than what we normally see, because Nintendo's Directs with January are usually bigger ones. I mean, yeah, we got a mini last year, but 2017 was a huge one with the actual presentation and showing us more about the games and features and kind of what the Switch can do and what we can expect at launch and everything like that. So looking at it here, I don't think it's going to be next week. So I don't think they're going to announce a Nintendo Direct next week on the 10th, so we can X out that day. I don't think they're going to do it at the end of the month, because I feel that if there was a Direct in January, if there is a Direct in January, I think that the 31st, it bleeds into the next month, February, and it's just like, I just don't think they're going to do that. So I would predict, if we're going to predict one here, just guess, I would say if we do get a Direct, remember guys, I don't know for sure or anything like that, so don't come to me if we don't get one. Don't get mad at me, okay? I'm just talking about these things here. The 17th or the 24th, those would be the two dates that I think that we could potentially get a Nintendo Direct, and I would guess that they would do mid-Direct. So they do it on the 17th, so it gives you the rest of the month to kind of talk about it and dominate the headlines, then the 24th leading out of the month. So I would guess it would be the 17th, just based on process of elimination here. Basic stuff here, guys. Like I said, I don't know any more information outside of what I'm just guessing, because yeah, the 10th, a little bit too early. I don't think it's going to happen next week. The 31st, a little bit too late. Same goes with the 24th. So I'm guessing it'd be the 17th. And like I said, there have been some rumors about a potential Nintendo Direct going down at some point in January. And I think it makes sense, right? It makes sense if Nintendo was to have a big Direct in January, because they haven't dated any of their games outside of like New Super Mario Bros. And Travis Strikes Again. Outside of that, we have no clue the dates for February, for March, for April, May, June, July. All we got is some release windows. We just have 2019s, or we have like spring. So I think that they're finally going to have a Direct and talk about some more of these things. We also need dates for big games announced last year. Like for example, the Final Fantasy games, like Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age was recently rated for the Nintendo Switch. That might get a release date announcement at a January Nintendo Direct, because it could be coming out very soon. what would be really dope is like, hey, you know what, you can pick this up like next week. That'd be really cool because the game is kind of old at this point on the PS2 originally, then of course on the PlayStation 4, which I played a little bit there, and it's a great game, but I knew it was coming to the Switch, so I decided to stop playing it on there and get it on the Switch when it does come out. So I'm excited to see what Nintendo has for us. Maybe they announce something, maybe I'm wrong on this one here, maybe it's next week, who knows, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. Overall though, I'm excited for Nintendo's 2019. I've talked about it quite a bit, did a video on it yesterday as well, or this week, so make sure you guys check that out if you haven't done so. So what do you guys think about Nintendo potentially having a Nintendo Direct in January? A big one here with some nice game announcements or some release dates, things like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet, in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace!